Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you are very well. Today, or rather over the next couple of weeks probably, it's going to be a reading vlog. And not just any reading vlog, a royal reading vlog. I've had the idea in my list of video ideas for basically as long as I've had this channel. And then I was watching Harry and Meghan's documentary, thinking about how Harry's book is coming out, and then I got an email, I think as I was watching the documentary, from NetGalley to say that arcs for Fergie's new book were up and I could request one, and I decided it was a sign and I requested it and I got approved for it. So now I have 2 books by royals ready to read. Today is the 2nd of January, so Happy New Year. It is our New Year bank holiday here in the UK. So although it is not New Year's Day, we still have the day off because New Year's Day was on a weekend. So we get an extra Monday off, which is exciting. So I'm going to go for a walk. It's a lovely day outside, and I'm going to read, not on my walk, but at some point today, A Most Intriguing Lady by Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York. I am 90% sure this is at least partly ghostwritten, but I'm going to have a great time either way. And then I have Prince Harry's book pre-ordered. It's going to arrive, I think, next Tuesday. So as soon as that arrives, I'm going to get stuck in and tell you all about it. I am going to put timestamps for the 2 books in the description, because if you're just here for the Harry and Meghan tea, then just skip ahead to the Prince Harry book section. But for now, I've got a historical romance that was at least partially written by Fergie. And yeah, I'm gonna take you along the journey, keep you updated as to how it is, as to what kind of a read it is. Good morning, everyone. This is a sight to behold, isn't it? I've just woken up. It's later than I care to admit, but I'm halfway through. So I'm showing you my Kindle. I'm halfway through A Most Intriguing Lady. It's okay. It's okay. I'm rooting for the main couple. I really like the main couple, which is of course the most important thing in any romance book. There are a few things that I'm not a fan of. The main thing that just keeps coming up is the main character. She keeps being all like, why would anyone look at a quiet, shy little person like me? And then proceeds to be a very not quiet, very not shy person. So there's a bit of like dissonance with the character description, like what she tells us about herself and what she actually does, which is a little bit frustrating. But I like the romance. There are a few Americanisms which entertains me. Also, a few references to Princess Beatrice, which... Now, Princess Beatrice, there have been multiple Princess Beatrices in British history. I did look it up. There was a Princess Beatrice at the time this book was set. But Queen Victoria had 9 children. So why did she pick the one that's got the same name as one of her children? Like, even when I went to highlight it to be like, this is weird, then on my Kindle it automatically came up with Princess Beatrice, born 1980, whatever, is, you know, daughter to the Duke and Duchess of York. And I was like, Yes, when we think Princess Beatrice, we think of your daughter. That just entertained me. That just tickled me. So yes, I'm halfway through. According to Bookly, I've only got an hour left. So I might try to finish it this morning. And then me and my girlfriend are going to see Matilda at the cinema, which I'm so excited for, because I love the musical and the book so much. So yes, I will keep you posted. I will let you know how the rest of it is. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely day. I'll catch up with you later. Morning everyone, a little bit of time has passed. I finished A Most Intriguing Lady and then fully forgot to update you. So yeah, I finished it. I gave it 3 stars. I really liked the romance. What I completely forgot to mention in all my other updates is that the 2 main characters also kind of solve mysteries together, which was a great little twist. Gave them something to bond over, something a little bit different to kind of go alongside the romance. So yeah, really enjoyed that. A lot of the details did annoy me. There were a lot of Americanisms. The constant references to Princess Beatrice was just weird. Yeah, the characterization of Mary, lots of little things that just didn't really work for me. So it was a 3-star overall. But you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, that is A Most Intriguing Lady. I have some post arriving later, but I've checked. It's not going to be here till after I've gone to work, which I'm gutted about. So I can't get stuck in to spare until this evening. But boy, have I been following the drama. Obviously, there was the leak of the book at the weekend, and there have been the interviews. So much tea has been spilled already. I'm so ready. So ready for this book. So yeah, those are my thoughts on A Most Intriguing Lady, and I'll let you know, I think later on today, hopefully when I come back from work, there'll be a parcel waiting for me with a new book inside. Hello, I'm back from work, back in my comfies, and a parcel has arrived. Don't worry, it's not one massive book. There is something else as well, much more boring that I ordered. Printer ink for my rock and roll lifestyle. And here it is, here it is, here it is. Da, 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 da. Again, it's massive, and it's got a massive smudge on the front. You can still kind of see the smudge. It's massive. It's like the same size as my face. Can I do that thing where you like match it up so I look like I've got Prince Harry's head? Anyway, it's here. There's a picture of little Prince Harry on the back. I'm sure you've seen it by now. Fairly regular under the cover. So it's here. I'm going to get stuck in straight away. I'm going to take this opportunity to rant about this cover, because this has bugged me ever since the cover was revealed. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an iconic title and a very striking picture, but this is just like Arial font, just like slapped on top. Like, I could make this in Windows 98 in like 3 minutes. Actually, it would take longer because Windows 98 takes a while to get going. But I don't know, I've just always been underwhelmed by this. And I know they don't want to detract from the famous face on the cover, but also like choose a slightly more interesting font or a more striking font that isn't the default on any word processing software. So, rant is over. Oh, pleasant surprise. I sort of assumed a book like this, there would be a load of pages of pictures in the middle. And, I mean, not that we didn't need them, you know? Yeah, no pictures. All words. So yes, I am going to get stuck into this straight away, and I'm going to keep you posted all along the way. Of course, I'm going to spill that royal tea that Harry has very much spilled in this book. So yeah, let's get reading. Hello, I've only read like 20 odd pages so far. It's very emotional, the very first bit. So far, all that's really happened is his account of his mother's funeral and the events surrounding it, and it's an emotional one. It is very emotional, and I think sets up a lot of the themes we're going to be seeing throughout the book, and a lot of the things that he talks about in terms of the press and all that sort of thing. But yes, so the writing is, as a celebrity memoir usually is, something to write home about, but you can feel the emotion behind it. If you are considering reading this book and you are recently bereaved or similar, maybe start with like chapter 7 or 8. That's my heads up to you. Hello, a little bit of time has passed. I've read about 80 pages, and I think it's time to call it a night. It is very late. It's taking me longer than I thought it would, to be honest. I thought it would be a fly through it in one evening sort of book. It is taking me a bit longer. In terms of where we're at, so we're just getting to the end of Eton years, about to leave school, and so far there's been nothing too surprising. Lots of sort of eye-rolling and kind of like posh kid in jokes, you know, and part of it is because obviously there were loads of leaks over the last few days, and there were the interviews as well, that things like the way he talks about Camilla, which is fascinating, has been widely discussed, that generally there's a very strong sense of fondness for the king. It still feels weird calling him the king, for Charles, but clearly not quite so fond feelings for Camilla, which is kind of to be expected. In some ways it's not that surprising, in some ways it's very surprising. So yes, that is the thing that's kind of stood out for me so far. Yeah, like I said, I might read a little bit before I go to sleep, but I am ready to sleep now. I have the day off tomorrow, so I'm hoping to read as much of this as I can tomorrow in order to get this vlog up by the end of the week. So yeah, I will keep you posted and let you know tomorrow how I'm getting on. Good morning, although it's not really morning anymore. But hello, today is Wednesday the 11th, so day 2 of reading spare. Here it is. I stayed up much later than planned to read it. I don't know, just really settled into it, and suddenly it was the early hours and I'd read about a third of the book. And then I read some more this morning, so I'm actually about 2/3 of the way through now. It's a very stormy day. You can probably hear the rain. You might hear some thunder at some point because it's kind of on and off thunder. And today's my day off, so it is a staying inside day today because it is miserable out there. And yeah, the only other thing on my to-do list today was to do recordings, music recordings, and aforementioned thunder. That's not gonna work out great, so looks like I've just got to stay in and read this book. So I've reached the kind of, I think, final section. We've just got to just before Meghan is about to come into the picture, and so we had most of the bit I've just read has been about his days in the army, his work, kind of in those years between leaving school and meeting Meghan. And I think it's very interesting. Obviously, what everyone is excited about is the gossip, is any little tidbits about the royal family, and there are some in there. They've been well reported, Most of the book is about Prince Harry and about his life and his journey. The sections on the army, as I had anticipated, the reported headlines in no way resemble the context and the message that he is trying to portray. Yes, it's the headline that was going all around about him sort of bragging about this, that and the other is more, it's basically it's him saying, this is what I did because I was in the army and that was my job, and here's how you reconcile that when you are doing that job that was his job. So yes, that and a lot of the other comments that have been making headlines obviously make much more sense in context. The thing that really strikes me, obviously Prince Harry's life is very different from my life, very different from most of our lives. That is why his book, I think, was the best-selling non-fiction book in the UK in like a decade or ever or something. I don't know. There's a reason everyone is wanting to read this book. And most of the time, there is an awareness as to how his life is different. Sometimes there is not. So things like Chelsea Davy being like he goes to the UK and Chelsea Davy is like, oh, I wish I could see you. I'm in Johannesburg. So he's like, I popped over. I'm like, but they are... and that's, yeah. There's a lot of just like jet setting and kind of mentioning going to Botswana and South Africa and places like that, in the same way that I'll be like, I'm just nipping to Tesco, you know. That's the bit that just really tickles me because it's so jarring every time it comes across. But yes, mostly it's about Prince Harry. It's about his grief for his mother. Now that things are where they are, I think there will be a bit more of his relationship with Prince William and their how that has evolved. Yes, but it is very engrossing. It's kind of like, I was reading some this morning and I just read for like an hour without kind of, I don't know, yeah, I just like, it is very absorbing. So yeah, I am going to read some more. So where we just got to, having said there's no pictures, I found 3 whole pictures at the start of each section. So if I just take my bookmark out, because that's not going to hold up very well if I had the bookmark in. I've just got to part 3, which is entitled Captain of My Soul. So yes, that's where I'm at. I will keep you posted. If you also have storms and weather warnings, then stay inside, stay safe, and I will keep you posted. Hello, I have finished Spare. It is the next day. I finished it, immediately gave it to my girlfriend, so I don't have it with me right now. And yeah, it was very absorbing. Like I said, the final section on his relationship with Meghan and everything that happened after, their love story was so sweet. It was really, really sweet reading that. So my overall thoughts, feelings, takeaways on the book. The biggest through theme is Prince Harry dealing with his own grief and going on his own journey of finding his purpose in life, his sense of purpose, and all the things that go into that. So that includes reevaluating how the monarchy is, critiquing the fact that he never had a choice on a career or a chance to kind of forge his own path until now, really. Obviously the press had a very strong presence throughout the book, which I think is even more interesting given what has been happening in the last few days with all the leaks, and the spin on the leaks is that they're just proving his point in the book. There's a very poignant mention of Caroline Flack, which was very sort of well put, and I think a good tribute, while also you know, it further underlines his point on the media and the role that can play in someone's mental health. So that was a very moving thing to mention. On the whole, then it was nowhere near as salacious and tea-spilling as I thought it would be. I know more about Prince Harry than I actually wanted to. There were some details I was like, you could have left that out. You did not need to tell me that. None of us needed to know that. That was too much. But in terms of talking about the royal family, then he only really talks about how it directly relates to him and his story. So there's a brief mention of Princess Margaret, which I thought was entertaining, and the way he kind of keeps referring back to her. Obviously, there's been a lot reported on how Prince William is depicted in the book. And by the end, and I know this is something he's talked about in interviews as well, then you really got that sense that he feels sorry for the rest of his family. That they are kind of stuck and can't see, like he can see what they can't see. Or what they refuse to see. So, yes, lots of different things going on. There was no like moment because everything had already been kind of spoiled, if that makes sense. You know, everything that was vaguely salacious has made the headlines already. So if you're only in it for the gossip, then you have the gossip. It's out there. But yes, the emotional journey, the talk about mental health, the discussion of mental health, and the sort of, I don't know how to best describe the conclusion. It was hopeful, but also incredibly sad. It was like a glimmer of hope at the end. And it's really not that surprising that loss is a huge theme, you know, throughout the course of the book. He loses his great-grandmother, his grandmother, his grandfather, his mother, his unborn child. It's a lot of heartbreak for one person to go through. And that, combined with the unique circumstances, is what makes it a story worth telling. It reads very cinematically. I'm sure they will do a Crown spin-off just based on this book. Another thing that was very interesting throughout was his relationship with the idea of monarchy. And this is, I think, something very interesting, that there was awareness that monarchy is built on inequality and perpetuates inequality. All the usual arguments for and against financially, but still a sense that he wants to be a part of it, which of course you would be if that's what you'd grown up with and that's who your family were, but also a knowledge that at the end of the day they're just people. There was a very striking passage when he and Rihanna did those HIV tests to promote HIV testing, and it was very early on in his relationship with Meghan, so just as those headlines about bloodline were doing the rounds, that he looks at his blood and, you know, thinks it's just blood, it's the same as everyone else's. And especially towards the end of the book, there was a very striking thought that does undermine the whole idea of monarchy, essentially. I'm not sure when this became a monarchist versus Republican rant, Republican in the British sense rather than the American sense. It was sort of inevitable, really, I guess, looking back at it. And I would be very intrigued to hear your thoughts if you read the book, what you thought of the book. And if you haven't read the book but you've seen some of the headlines, what you think of some of those. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And that brings us to the end of this royal reading vlog. Thank you very much for joining me. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I've got a couple of other reading vlogs coming up over the next few weeks, so if you would like to see some more, then make sure you subscribe. I will see you next time. Ta-ra for now.